Thanks, Sophie. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight: police may consider manslaughter charges over dozens of surgery deaths at Sussex hospitals. Bereaved families are backing the move.
There's just multiple problems following what should have been a routine operation.
We'll have more from our health correspondent Mark, who's in Brighton tonight. The Eastbourne crashes, which have left people scared to live in their area. Residents demand safety barriers.
The last car went actually through inside the property. So obviously it's a danger to life now, and it's getting silly.
3 people are arrested as part of an investigation into the large-scale illegal dumping of waste at Hodes Wood in Ashford.
Anybody in Crawley that comes to this bakery, I want you to know it's because of me.
And recipe for success: Crawley comedian Ramesh Ranganathan serving up comedy and carbs today. Why? Stay tuned to find out. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Elle Crisell. Police could bring corporate manslaughter charges over dozens of surgery deaths at Sussex hospitals. Bereaved families have backed the move, signing a letter calling for the executive team of the University Hospital Sussex NHS Foundation Trust to resign. A police investigation is looking at care and treatment provided between 2015 and 2021. The Trust has apologised, saying it's determined to learn and improve. Our health correspondent Mark Norman explains.
Chris Paling died in 2024 after some years being treated for bowel cancer at the Royal Sussex Hospital in Brighton. His case, along with more than 200 others, is now being looked at by Sussex Police as part of their Operation Bramber. His widow, Julie, has a number of concerns about the care Chris received.
There seemed to be a different problem almost each day or each week, or things weren't sorted out, you know. At one point it led to him having to have a food bag because he couldn't eat properly. He had tubes to try and get him to eat properly. There was just multiple problems following what should have been a routine operation, I think.
Operation Bramber centres on the care and treatment provided by the Hospital Trust between 2015 and 2021. But for many of the families, the NHS response has not been good enough. Dozens of relatives have signed a joint open letter calling for the executive team at the Hospital Trust to resign. One of the signatories, Charlotte Smart, whose mother was left paralysed after surgery, said the board failed to effectively investigate, let alone bring a halt to what she describes as deadly treatment and care.
There's not really a great response. I don't think they realise the damage that has been caused to not only patients but to their families. And the reason for the open letter was that if there's a police investigation going on, and these people shouldn't be operating, and patients should feel confident in care that they receive within the trust.
Now that the offence of corporate manslaughter is being considered, this is obviously a very serious development, and it means that they have considered that the failures in care are potentially coming from the top down. And the families naturally are very concerned by this.
The chair of the trust has said today that she wanted to offer families her sincere apologies and sympathy to those involved, and that she was aware that patients and families feel let down that they've not received the care they had a right to expect, but also that the trust was determined to take every opportunity to learn and improve. The police investigation is likely to take some time to conclude, possibly as long as 2 years, but the families, many grieving the loss of loved ones, are determined to see this through to its conclusion.
Well, Mark is outside the Royal Sussex County Hospital in Brighton for us this evening. Hi, Mark. What have the police said today?
Hi Ellie. Well, Sussex Police have told us they have some independent consultants reviewing individual cases. But because of the complexity of those cases, it is going to take some considerable time. You heard in my piece, some families have been told that could be upwards of 2 years. What we don't know is if any of those cases will ultimately lead to prosecutions. I suppose only time will tell. But in the meantime, the Hospital Trust here insists they're on an improvement journey from where they were back in 2015 through to 2021, Ellie.
Mark, thank you. Southern Water has agreed to pay out millions of pounds in compensation after thousands of Sussex homes and businesses were left without running water for 5 days across a bank holiday weekend. 32,000 properties across Hastings and St Leonard's had no supplies after a pipe burst in isolated woodland. This was in May last year. Families turned to bottled water, with some collecting rainwater, and one hotel used seawater to flush its toilets. The company handed out a total of 13 million litres of emergency water during an operation described as one of the biggest of its kind. More than 400 staff were drafted in to deal with the incident. Today, affected residents were told they'll soon find out how much compensation they'll get. Sarah Smith reports.
Lugging buckets from the sea and collecting drinking water by the bottleful, when Hastings should have been revelling in its May Day celebrations. The most lucrative weekend in the town's calendar ruined. This on top of flooding and sewage spills. Last month, Southern Water's boss faced anger in Parliament from, among others, the town's MP.
It is completely unacceptable for the incidents to have occurred in the first place.
Yeah, and what about the response when they did happen?
And our response throughout all four has nowhere been good enough.
He ended up agreeing to look again at compensation for residents who'd lost their supply. Today, they got the good news. They'd get £50 for each 12 hours without water.
It's great, and I'm hoping that Southern Water's going to turn the corner and start looking after us properly, using the money for what it's supposed to be used for.
Companies like Southern have to be dragged kicking and screaming to pay up anything at all, and they've finally done it, which I think is great.
It caused unacceptable disruption for our community, and it's only right that my constituents get the compensation that they are rightly entitled to. And I've also been campaigning to change the law so that when incidents like this happen in future, the water companies are legally required to give higher amounts of compensation automatically.
From April, the new rules come in, forcing water companies to pay compensation. Southern Water says it's adopting the new rates retrospectively in an attempt to rebuild trust with the town. The council leader welcomes the change in attitude, but hopes the company will go further.
Since 2021, we've had 2 sewage bursts at Bulverhythe. We've had 2 flooding events in the town centre. And then on top of that, we had the water outage. And then generally just the feeling that, you talk to anyone and no one feels rightly or wrongly that they can swim in the sea anymore. And that is hugely damaging to a tourist town.
The town's businesses say they're still waiting. The owner of this restaurant says they lost more than £3,000 over the May Day weekend.
It's good for residents, but for the businesses, they promised that they will give us compensation, but they haven't.
Southern Water has announced an £80 million improvement plan for the town. There'll be plenty watching to make sure the changes take place.
Well, Sarah's live for us in Hastings this evening. Sarah, when will residents get this compensation? Do we know?
Well, the advice from Southern Water is that they'll write to all the residents who were affected sometime in mid-March to tell them how much they'll get, so that nobody needs to get in touch with them, nobody needs to do anything, it'll all be done for them. Now, those who aren't happy with the result, they can get in touch and have their cases dealt with individually. The company says this package will cost them millions of pounds, and that's on top of a £1 million goodwill amount that they've already agreed to, but which most of the people who speak to here agree doesn't even touch the sides. And anyway, that doesn't go to any individual residents. And then the council are asking for another town fund. You heard the council leader talking about the impact to the town from sewage leaks, from floods, from the water outages. And they want this to be a sort of reparations package, as they put it, to help repair the town's reputation.
Sarah, thank you. 3 men have been arrested in connection with the large-scale dumping of illegal waste at Hodes Wood near Ashford. The Environment Agency started an investigation in 2023 after 30,000 tonnes of household and construction waste, piled 15 feet high in places, was found at the site of special scientific interest. Well, our environment correspondent Yvette Austin has been closely following this story. Hello, Yvette. This is a significant development.
Incredibly significant, and I think it's fair to say there'll be a lot of people very happy that this has finally happened. There's been a lot of criticism that the Kent Police and the Environment Agency let far too much waste arrive at the site before it was closed down by the agency. The dumping carried on for around 6 months, from the summer of 2023 until the EA closed the site in January 2024. It's estimated 30,000 tonnes is there. I've been there many times and it's horrid. There's all sorts of waste there, from plastics to building materials. It really is quite a horrible place. The Environment Agency will obviously be hoping that 3 men are convicted, not just because they want a result, but they want to use proceeds of crime laws to pay for the clearance of the site. At the moment, the clear-up is being paid for by the taxpayer. It's costing around £10 million, and the agency will want to recoup that money from whoever is convicted. It's going to be a complex operation. Local residents will have to put up with more lorry movements. Some conservationists say the wood will never recover. It's a really sad story, but perhaps this is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yvette, thank you. 3 people have been dramatically rescued near Cookmere Haven after a high tide left them stranded on a small section of beach.
Hi there, how are you? OK, if you're happy, we're going to give you some life jackets, get you on board.
An RNLI crew manoeuvred through shallow waters to give life jackets to the 3, who the charity said were left cold and frightened by the ordeal. It emerged they'd gone to Seven Sisters for a walk, but didn't have power in their phones to call the emergency services. Trains are running again after what was described as a significant landslip in West Sussex. Steel piles had to be driven into the ground to shore up the track between Three Bridges and Gatwick Airport on the Brighton Main Line. A full service is expected from tomorrow. Early work to renovate a tourist attraction which once took Victorian visitors from the top of the cliffs at Folkestone to the beach below is getting underway. More than £6.5 million has been raised to renovate the Lees lift, which closed in 2017 after its braking system was found to be unsafe. Next, to the calls for urgent action after a car ploughed into a house twice in 5 months in a part of Eastbourne. Residents, along with the town's MP, are demanding crash barriers, claiming pedestrians and business owners' lives are being put at risk. And as Leanne Rinney now reports, the incidents near the Beacon shopping centre have left people scared to live in the area.
This is the second time a car has crashed here in the last 6 months. And over the years, it's happened 7 times. Devlata Patel is a nurse and has lived on this road for more than a decade. She says after the latest crash on Sunday, she's decided to move house for her family's safety.
Anxiety, scare, stress. You don't know when it's happened. We're sleeping and somebody come and do this. And it can be happen anytime. It can be crushed because no barrier outside our house is to safety any. So we're really worried about. That's why I'm trying to move out.
In August, 2 people were injured after another car crashed into the house. At the time, residents contacted the council asking again for crash barriers to be installed, but nothing was done.
East Sussex County Council keeps failing to do something about it. After the last time this happened last summer, I wrote to them a number of times to say, look, we need to sort this out, install some crash barriers at the very least to protect the residents and protect pedestrians as well as drivers. They said no. I insisted that they meet me on site to look at the issue. They said no. This needs to stop. This needs to change.
In a statement, a spokesperson from East Sussex County Council said, "We're aware of the concerns raised about this section of road. We have now received further details of the latest incident from Sussex Police and are assessing the circumstances around this and the previous incidents to consider if any additional highway measures are appropriate."
These cars keep coming out of here and going straight across into that wall, and at any point anyone could be walking along that path and indeed anyone could be sat inside. The last car went actually through inside the property. So obviously it's a danger to life now and it's getting silly.
Residents say with support from their MP, they're determined to get the council to make the changes they say are needed here to save lives. Leanne Rinney, BBC South East Today, Eastbourne.
It's just after 7:15. A reminder of our top story tonight. Police could bring corporate manslaughter charges over dozens of surgery deaths between 2015 and 2021 at Sussex hospitals. Bereaved families have backed the move, signing a letter calling for the executive team of the University Sussex NHS Foundation Trust to resign. Also in tonight's programme.
Anybody in Crawley that comes to this bakery, I want you to know it's because of me.
From comedy to bakery, Romesh Ranganathan serves up cakes, loaves and jokes in his hometown Crawley after taking a stake in the business.
And there's been some blue sky today, but the next few days are looking cloudier, colder and windier too, with a few showers. I'll have a full forecast later in the programme.
Sport now, James is here with news of a brand new series about non-league football, James.
Yeah, that's right. We've been visiting the clubs that often don't get much coverage, but they are the lifeblood of the game and a lot of our communities too. Over the coming months, we'll be celebrating the dedicated volunteers and passionate fans who support their team home and away in our brand new series, Behind the Teams. Now, the first stop is Sittingbourne Football Club. They're nicknamed the Brickies, and they're obviously having the best season in their 140-year history at the moment. Playing in the 8th tier, they are the lowest ranked side in the FA Trophy after beating favourite Southend United to reach the quarter-finals, and they could be in line for a new £6 million stadium. But as we know, it's not about the ground or the results, it is the fans behind the teams that make clubs like Sittingbourne what they are.
Someone said to me once that, I should be on a stage. And I always say, this is my stage. And I just love supporting Sittingbourne.
You're only here for the sombrero! You're only here for the sombrero!
It just brings laughter. It's just something fun, silly. And it's just stayed with me. I wouldn't be without it now.
Hey, Jay, pay, why?
That's always what I'm wearing. Scarf around my neck. Sometimes it's a tie.
Does it make you feel part of something?
Definitely, yeah. Just big part of a big family.
La, 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 la.
Clive is just one of a lot of people that are mad about the club.
Hello!
He'll stand on his own and he'll sing the whole time. He never tells us what he's doing, but he breaks into the ground and tidies it, does a bit of landscaping for us.
Hello! We're all the Sittingbourne boys. Hello!
I think it's unbelievable. We've got a hotbed of there's about 50 kind of ultras that will go anywhere to watch us.
I'm Neil, but they do call me Southend Brickie.
Why do they call you that?
Because I live in Southend and I'm obviously a Brickies fan.
So you come here every game. It's quite a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, I started out at 3:30, got here just about, 10 minutes ago, so that's 3 hours journey.
Number 8, Warren Coleman. Number 9, Cameron Wilson. Number 10, Finley Lovett. And number 11, Alex Andre Philippe.
I come to watch the team with my dad in the 60s. I played in the 70s. About 13 years ago, they asked me to help them out, and that's what I did to keep it going, because it's 140 years this year, and it's worth keep going because it's a proper town club, family club. It's been like that for the whole of that time.
Yeah, the atmosphere. Yeah, second to none. If it's all singing, all dancing, you can't beat it.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, it's the sombrero boy making all the noise everywhere I go.
He is making some noise as well. Now, you can read our behind the teams stories online and listen to extended features on BBC Sounds. If you think that your team should be featured, you can email southeasttoday@bbc.co.uk or get in touch via WhatsApp. You can also use the number on the screen or scan the QR code. And next week, we'll be visiting Ashford United, Ellie.
You've got to love that enthusiasm, haven't you, James? Thank you. Now, with a stellar cast led by Sir Mark Rylance and Damian Lewis and some spectacular scenery, Wolf Hall brought Hilary Mantel's novels about King Henry VIII to our screens, winning a Golden Globe and 2 BAFTA awards and securing an impressive 8 Emmy nominations. Now, costumes from the drama are going on display for the first time in Kent. Chrissy Reedy reports now from Hever Castle.
It's the costume drama that follows the rapid rise to power of Thomas Cromwell, played by actor Mark Rylance from Ashford.
I'm happy for your majesty.
I have come out of hell.
Wolf Hall is set in the court of Henry VIII.
Very much looking forward to seeing her younger brother. Aren't you, Dumpling? And I share her impatience. It has been a long enough wait.
And now, for the first time, BAFTA have loaned 5 of the costumes to Hever Castle, the former home of Anne Boleyn. Dr. Owen Emerson, based at Hever, was one of the historical advisors on the most recent series, The Mirror and the Light.
I think historical accuracy was really important in this production, especially to the director, Peter Kosminski. And I think that's because everyone on board really adored the novels. And Dame Hilary Mantel, of course, had placed enormous effort into getting the broad brushstrokes of history correct, as well as inserting her fictional story.
Clothes reflected power and wealth at Tudor Court. They were made from the most expensive materials.
The whole point of menswear at this time is to expand the chest, to be as masculine as possible. It's like a time for peacocks for men. It's fabulous for men.
Sir John, Majesty, welcome. Lost my hat riding here.
Fashion at Tudor Court was all about wealth and status. Some of these clothes were very heavy, lots and lots of layers. For women, quite restrictive. Some women would have to be pinned into some of these dresses, so you certainly wouldn't be able to get out of them in a hurry.
I also like to think of these clothes as battle armour, because instantly anyone who notices what you're wearing will understand your status, and maintaining that is incredibly important in such a cutthroat environment.
Perhaps you'll find a bride while you're here with us.
They're very heavy, especially Anna Cleves and Henry VIII's costumes. They're full velvet, so they are weighty, and I do feel sorry for the poor actors that had to wear them.
Action!
Seeing these costumes up close is a must for any Wolf Hall fan. They'll be here to marvel from the 12th of February. Chrissy Reedy, BBC South East Today at Hever Castle.
He's the award-winning entertainer, famous for his stand-up, quiz shows, acting roles and travel programmes. But today, Romesh Ranganathan swapped the comedy circuit for the kitchen to work behind the counter of a bakery in his hometown of Crawley. So why swap jokes and japes for loaves and cakes? Claudia Servasis went to find out.
It didn't go well at Dorking, so I've been fired and I've come here. It's the lowest standard of staff in Crawley.
They've been artisan bakers since the 30s, but today there's a new member of staff at the new branch in Crawley.
The truth is, I begged Sean to open a Coughlin's in Crawley, begged him. I said to him, and truthfully it was selfishly motivated, I just wanted one near my house. Anybody in Crawley that comes to this bakery, I want you to know it's because of me. So I'm going to fill a couple of jam donuts here.
Romesh has been out back too, baking, decorating, and just indulging, really, in his passion for their vegan donuts.
Phil, that's pretty beautiful. It's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it's great to be able to get them. On the other hand, in some ways, I'd like to be more restricted from them, because it's dangerous now. And now I'm involved in the company, I can have one whenever I want.
This beauty was up for grabs in a competition. Abby Cox was the lucky winner and came in today to meet Romesh and get the cake.
really, really chuffed. So ready to enjoy the cake now.
But Abby, you're not from here, are you?
I'm not, no. I'm actually from Stone in Staffordshire. So we've had a little bit of a drive to get here today. We've travelled about 3.5 hours to get down here. But it's all been worth it. We've had a great chat with Ramesh and yeah, really pleased.
How do you think Ramesh is doing?
He was my maths teacher, so he actually remembered me when I mentioned it.
Was he a good maths teacher?
I did fail maths, and I have needed it in my later life. So.
I'm going to go and ask him. Thank you.
He was more of a comedian, so he's always destined to be a comedian. Class clown, used to make us laugh.
No, I don't think that's fair. Class clown. Like, I delivered maths with humour.
Fractions with humour?
Yeah. When comedy comes to an end, I don't think I'll be welcome back to teaching.
Ramesh is currently writing a new show, but first he's got to finish his shift.
Our granddad Jack founded us in 1937 with our grandma as well. We're now third generation. We've been a family business for, well, it's our 88th year now. Obviously Ramesh has joined this year, or in the last 6 months, so that's super exciting.
This is the Ranga Yum Yum, with money going to mental health charity Calm. And Ramesh says soon he'll be adding more to his line of sweet treats. Claudia Sebezis, BBC South East Today, Crawley.
Gosh, my mouth is watering badly now. I don't know about you, Sarah Keith Lucas.
Yes.
Didn't that look delicious?
Absolutely, bit of tummy rumbling now.
Indeed. What does the weather have in store for us, Sarah?
Well, a bit of a change, Ellie. We had some sunshine around today. Yes, many of our weather watchers have been out and about. This was the picture in Speldhurst a little bit earlier on, but as the sun set, as you can see from the Ashdown Forest here, we had the cloud that's been gathering, and it has been producing 1 or 2 showers over the past couple of hours, and there's more of them to come, certainly. So for the next few days, then, the weather is turning a little bit more wintry. So we're going to be seeing the wind picking up, the cloud increasing too, so a colder spell of weather on the cards for the next few days, and some scattered showers around too. So a little bit of a change, something a little bit wintry in the forecast. High pressure still not far away. It's going to be sitting out towards the northeast, but with the winds rotating around that, they're going to be coming in from an east or northeasterly direction. So that's a chilly direction for those winds to be coming in from. Now through the rest of this evening and overnight, then we've got the breeze picking up from the northeast already. Quite a lot of cloud out there and some showery rain coming and going. Nothing particularly heavy overnight. It won't be quite as cold as it was last night because we've got the breeze and the cloud, but still temperatures down to 2 or 3 degrees. Could be the odd icy stretch in a few prone spots. Now these showers with us tomorrow, most of us are going to be seeing them as rain showers coming and going. But over the higher ground, North Downs for instance, there could be a little bit of sleet and snow in the mix as well. So perhaps just a light covering of snow over the highest ground. But for most of us, it's going to be a grey, damp, windy day. Temperatures only 4 or 5 degrees. And when you add on that breeze, which could be gusting up to about 40 miles an hour, it will feel colder than that. So moving through Friday night and on into the weekend, bit more of the same. Still quite cloudy, still some rain as we start Saturday morning, and a chilly old morning with temperatures just a degree or 2 above freezing. Saturday won't be quite as windy compared to Friday, but we've still got the breeze, the cloud and some outbreaks of rain. I think later in the day we'll start to see something a bit brighter moving in, some slightly clearer skies, so perhaps a sunny spell or 2 later on Saturday, and temperatures not as chilly as Friday, so up to about 6, possibly 7 degrees. That theme then continues into Sunday too, so slightly milder, more in the way of sunshine for Sunday, but things are set to turn colder again next week, so not quite done with winter yet.
We're not, still wintry, but we are getting a few more daylight minutes,
Absolutely.
aren't we? Which is cheering us all up. Thank you very much, Sarah Keith Lucas. That is it from me for the moment. Ian Palmer will be back with your late news update at 10:30. Bye-bye.